Vocation of Gideon. Before that, we shall also see about the emergence of judges in the history of Israel. So we know in the beginning they had patriarchs. We reflected about Abraham, Moses, Joshua. They were all what we call patriarchs who led the people of Israel. And now Joshua has taken them to the promised land, and the administration, the type of administration also changes. So now from patriarchs, we come to judges. And we shall see how the judges emerged in the history of Israel. So they are there in the promised land. And the Israelites did what is evil in the Yahweh's sight, in Yahweh's sight. Here evil means specially that they forsook the true God and began to worship the foreign gods, especially the Canaanite gods, Amorites God. So all those gods who are already present there in the promised land, they were attracted by this God and they forsook the true God, Yahweh, who led them from the slavery of Egypt. So God gets angry and God was offended and God punished them. God punishes them especially by sending the enemies, and the enemies occupy them. And once again, in the promised land, the chosen race, the chosen people are there under the oppression of the enemies. And then the people cried to Yahweh for help. Lord, save us. We are suffering. We are there under the oppression of these enemies. You led us from Egypt. Please help us, liberate us. So they cried to Yahweh. And Yahweh answers the cry of the people of Yahweh, people of God, by calling judges, by sending judges to liberate them from the oppression of the enemies. Sending judges to defeat these enemies and once again leading them to freedom. This is how judges were raised in Israel. And when you think about judges, don't misunderstand with our modern term where a judge takes care only the judiciary. Whereas in the history of Israel, in the beginning, judges had all the powers, executive, legislative, and judiciary power. They are in a way rulers, charismatic leaders who led the people from the slavery as well as and liberating them. So I have given all these, how that emergence of judges. So there was sin, they were punished, and they were in great distress, and then they cried to Yahweh, and then Yahweh rescues them by liberating them. I shall read for you. Then the Israelites did what was evil in the sight of the Lord and worshipped Baals, the Canaanite gods. And they abandoned the Lord, the true God, the God of their ancestors who had brought them out of the land of Egypt. They followed other gods from among the gods of the people who were all around them and bowed down to them and they provoked the Lord to anger. They abandoned the Lord and worshipped Baal and Ashtaroth. And this is their sin. They abandoned the Lord and worshipped Baal and Ashtaroth. Punishment then. So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and God gave them over to plunderers who plundered them, and he sold them into the power of their enemies all around, so that they could no longer withstand their enemies. Whenever they marched out, the hand of the Lord was against them to bring misfortune. So everywhere they went to fight, they lost, as the Lord had warned them and shown to them, and they were in great distress. And then they cried to Yahweh, and then the Lord raised up judges who delivered them out of the power of those who plundered them. You see, sin, punishment, were in great distress, and they cried to Yahweh, and the Lord rescued them by raising judges. But what happened? Once the judge delivers them, then they were faithful to Yahweh. They worship only Yahweh, the Lord. But once that judge dies, once again they go back to the same problem of committing sin. The vicious circle. Again, they commit sin, they are punished, they cry to Yahweh, and once again, Yahweh raises a new judge who goes and liberates them, fights against their enemies, and then rescues them. So the vicious circle. Yet, they did not listen even to the judges, for they lusted after other gods. See the word used, they lusted, prostituted. They lusted after other gods and bowed down to them. They soon turned aside from the way in which their ancestors had walked, who had obeyed the commandments of the Lord. They did not follow their example. And whenever the Lord raised up judges for them, the Lord was with the judge, and he delivered them from the hand of their enemies all the days of the judge. For the Lord would be moved to pity by their groaning because of those who persecuted and oppressed them. But whenever the judge died, they would relapse and behave worse than their ancestors, following other gods, worshipping them, and bowing down to them. They would not drop any of their practices or their stubborn ways. So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. And he said, because these people have transgressed my covenant that I commanded their ancestors, and have not obeyed my voice, I will no longer drive them out before them any of the nations that Joshua left when he died, in order to test Israel, whether or not they would take care to walk in the way of the Lord, as their ancestors did. The Lord had left those nations, not driving them out at once, and had not handed them over to Joshua. Okay, so it was in this background we have the vocation of Gideon, one of the judges. He is not the first judge, but one of the famous judge, and whose vocation we have elaborately in the book of Judges. That's why I have chosen Gideon, one of the judges, for our analysis, for our study. Okay, so we shall begin with a short life history of Gideon. Gideon was from a humble family, and then he was subjected to heavy work. Here, heavy work, what we mean, he was taking care of the family by grinding the wheat And as he was threshing the wheat very secretly, the angel of the Lord finds him there. And he was threshing the wheat secretly for the fear of the Midianites. Now, because of the sins that they committed, Israel is now under the Midianites. And these Midianites, especially what they do during the time of harvest, they will come, they will destroy all the crops, and then whatever the Israelites have harvested, they will take with them and go. And that's the reason Gideon was secretly threshing the wheat. He was afraid of the Midianites, that they would come, they will take away all the wheat. Not only that, as a young man, they would also catch him, they may kill him. And that's the reason that he is there, secretly threshing the wheat. And the Lord, the angel of the Lord, finds him there. And the angel tells him, the Lord is with you. The Lord is with you. And the Lord is going to call you, and you are going to be given a mission. And when he heard that the God is with us, with you, he says, if God is with us, how should all these sufferings be? And it is in this background that he is being called. Okay, so we shall see the vocational text. Sometimes some of us may not be very thorough with this text. It's a very famous text, and it's good that you read. So we have it in Judges chapter 6, verse 11 onwards. Judges chapter 6, verse 11 onwards. I shall read for you. Now, the angel of the Lord came and sat under the oak of Ophrah, which belonged to the Joash the Abiezrite, as his son Gideon was beating out wheat in the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. So this is the scene in which God called him. So the first aspect we are having in the encounter, the call, the encounter between God who calls and the person who is called. The angel of the Lord appeared to him and said to him, the Lord is with you, you mighty warrior. Gideon answered him, but sir, if the Lord is with us, why then has all this happened to us? Remember, they are under the Midianites. And where are all his wonderful deeds that our ancestors recounted to us, saying, did not the Lord bring us from Egypt? But now the Lord has cast us off and given us into the hand of Midian. And then, second one, first we have encounter, then we have the mission. So he is given the mission. Then the Lord turned to him and said, go in this might of yours and deliver Israel from the hand of Midian. I hereby commission you. And this is the mission that is given to him. Go, halak. You see once again, halak. I have told you this word halak is often found in the call narratives. Once again, you see our famous halak is there. Halak, in this might of yours, and deliver Israel from the hand of Midian, I hereby commission you. And then we have the third aspect, that is objections or hesitation. Gideon responded, but sir, how can I deliver Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, their tribe, one of the tribes, and I am the least in my family, possibly the youngest. And then the Lord gives him assurance. The Lord said to him, but I will be with you, the traditional assurance word. Don't worry, I will be with you. And you will strike down the Midianites, every one of them. Not even one will escape. All of them will be struck down. Then he was also given a sign, we said, of an one who is called, is given the assurance by words and also by signs. Then Gideon said to him, if now I have found favor with you, then show me a sign that it is you who speak with me. Do not depart from here until I come to you and bring out my present and set it before you. And he said, I will stay until you return. So Gideon went into his house and prepared a kit and unleavened cakes from a flour. The wheat he put in a basket, and the broth he put in a pot, and brought them to him under the oak and presented to them. The angel of God said to him, take the meat and unleavened cakes and put them on this rock and pour out the broth. And he did so. Then the angel of the Lord reached out the tip of the staff that was in his hand and touched the meat and the unleavened cakes. And fire, once again, you see, fire is seen as a theophany of God, sprang up from the rock and consumed the meat and unleavened cakes. And the angel of the Lord vanished from his sight. Then Gideon perceived that it was the angel of the Lord. And Gideon said, help me, Lord God, for I have seen the Lord face to face. But the Lord said to him, peace be to you. Do not fear. You shall not die. Okay. So we shall have just here a few reflections on the text that we have just heard. So this particular vocation of Gideon follows the literary pattern that we have been reflecting these days, the literary pattern of call narratives. So we have the call or the vocational experience, the encounter between God who calls and the person who is called. Then we have what we call the mission, commission, and the person hesitates, hesitation, and assurance by words and assurance by sign, and then the person accepts. And he said also that one who is called cannot remain in the same place. Immediately, he has to go. Halak. He has to go where the Lord wants him to go. And we find that expression of go, halak, found also here in the call of Gideon. Gideon cannot execute this order of defeating the Midianites without going from where he was, and then he cannot execute the order without absolute faith in God. So with great faith in God, he goes. So the divine confrontation, which we have already we have read in the text. So we find the Gideon was beating out the wheat, and as I said, the call is given not directly by God, but he uses his messenger, the angel, and there was no obvious preparation at all. Suddenly, the Lord appears through his messenger, the angel, and he was given the call that God has called you. You are going to be the agent of God to liberate the people from the Midianites. And Yahweh affirms that it is God who sends him. So he says, it is I who sends you. It is I. And God also guarantees to Gideon his help. And then he is given the mission. What is the mission? To liberate the Israelites from the Midianites. So they are now under the oppression of the Midianites, and they are suffering. The people cried to Yahweh. Yahweh listened to their cry, and he wanted to liberate them. And that's why this person, Gideon, was called, though he was afraid and he was hiding himself and beating the wheat in the winepress. The angel tells, you are a valiant soldier. You are going to be a valiant soldier, warrior. And then this is your mission. Go and liberate the Midianites. And then he gives two objections. Remember Moses trying to give four hesitations, four objections. He gives two. What are the two objections? First, he says, I am from the poorest of the families of the Manasseh tribe. You know, the tribes were consisted of clan, and clan were consisted of families. And he says, ours is the smallest or the least important family in the clan of the tribe of Manasseh. In other words, he says, my family is nothing. We are from a humble family, a simple family, a poor family, an insignificant family. That is the first one, he says. First objection. So, why is it that I am called? We are not from a noble family. I am not from a noble family. Such an insignificant family in the clan of the Manasseh tribe. And secondly, he says, even in the family, I am the last. Possibly, he was the youngest. And you understand, in the Bible, the youngest ones are always the preferred one. The youngest one are often the preferred one. Remember the first story of Abel and Cain? Abel was the youngest, and Cain was the elder. And the Lord accepted the offering of the youngest, Abel, who gave meat. And in a way did not accept the offerings of the elder one, Cain. He was giving vegetables. Why? God accepted that of Abel and not that of Cain. Sometimes some people say Abel gave nice fat meat, and then whereas Cain gave all rotten vegetables, rotten fruits. So God was angry, he did not accept. But in the text, nowhere it is written that Abel gave the best and Cain gave the worst, the rotten ones. No, it is not that. And there are some jokingly they say, our God is a non-vegetarian. So he liked meat. He enjoyed meat, like many of us religious know. He enjoyed meat, and fruits or vegetables he rejected. No. The point is this. God has a preferential love for the weakest. And normally the last one will be the weaklings, no? You might have seen also when dogs deliver puppies. The first puppy will be the strongest. The second one, yes. And the last fellows will be weakling. Often the last fellows die also. And in the Near Eastern culture, the first one had a lot of privileges. That's why you remember Jacob wanted to get that firstborn right. And the last ones were often insignificant. But God had a special love for the last, the youngest. Think also about the story of Jacob and Esau, no? Esau, elder, Jacob was the last one, youngest. But somehow, God had a special love for Jacob, not the younger one, the elder one, Esau. And if we read the story, actually, this Esau is a beautiful fellow, good fellow. I like him. But this Jacob was a cunning fellow, a cheat. You know how he cheated him, how he took away the firstborn right by cheating. We know how he took away the final blessings from his father Isaac by cheating. And then everywhere he was cheating. But God had special love for him, the youngest. And we always hear, always we read the father of Abraham, the father of Isaac, the father of Jacob. Have you ever heard the father of Abraham, father of Isaac, and father of Esau? God had a special love for the least, for the last, for the youngest. Again, you see the story of Joseph, how God took care of him. Okay, all right, it's a big thing. We don't have time to go in detail, but he gives the objection. I'm the least, I'm the last in my family. And as usual, God gives assurance as a beautiful assurance word. Don't worry that you are the least, you are the last, your family is insignificant, nothing. All those things do not matter to me. What I need is you. I need your readiness. I need your acceptance. And I will be with you. Don't worry that you are the least fellow, you are weakest one, you have no significance. Don't worry at all. I am with you. When I am with you, everything is possible. And even though you may think that you are nobody, I will be there to guide you. I will be with you. And with my help, you can defeat the Midianites. And we know later in the stories how with 100 people he was able to defeat lakhs of people, lakhs of Midianites, and liberate them from their oppression. And then Gideon was, he was asking, give me a sign to confirm that you are God, your words, to confirm your authenticity, your genuineness. And God accepts and gives him a sign to fire, all that was kept on the rock gets burned. Then he understood he was not just speaking with someone else, but he has seen God himself, God himself. And in the Old Testament, they always understood that they can never see God and live. The moment you see God, you will die. Of course, there are also some texts where Moses was able to see God face to face because of different traditions. We have also some type of contradictions. But at least according to Elohist tradition, it was understood that you cannot see God and live. Remember Moses? He tells, I want to see you. Come on. Show me your face. Only I'm hearing your voice. Show me. I want to see your face. And then God says, you come to Mount Sinai. He goes there. And God is passing there, coming there, descending there. And as he comes close to Moses, he stretches his hand and closes his face. And then he passes. And Moses could see only little bit of the back of God. He could not see his face. And then God gives the explanation. I did not show you my face because no human being can see me and then live. That's the reason. So the moment Gideon realized that he has seen God face to face, he cries, Lord, I have seen God, I'm going to die. And God says, okay, man, don't worry. Some discount for you. You have seen God, but you are not going to die. I will be with you. I will take care of you. Your mission will be complete. And though we don't have the last one, acceptance, in an explicit way as we find in the Gospel of Luke, where Mary says, behold the handmaid of the Lord, be it done to me according to thy word, acceptance. Of course, we know from what he did, immediately Gideon prepares himself to fulfill this mission. And indeed, he fulfilled this mission of liberating them from the Midianites.